Is Goldberg set to challenge for the AEW World Championship, and are more WWE releases on the horizon? But first, let's go to the key headlines coming out of last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, where a new member of the Elite was seemingly revealed. During the show, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks would make their way to the ring to make a direct challenge to the Blackpool Combat Club. This before Bryan Danielson's appearance on the big screen caused a distraction, allowing Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, and Wheeler Yuta to hit them with a sneak attack. Don Callis would then emerge with an equalizer, with Konosuke Takeshita evening the odds, clearing the ring in the process. Whilst it seems that Takeshita is on the side of the Elite, fans have speculated that this could be a ruse on behalf of Callis, perhaps leading to the pair siding with the BCC somewhere down the line. Another popular fan theory is that this could lead to the debut of Kota Ibushi to even the odds. However, we'll just have to see how it plays out going forward. Later in the night, the AEW TNT Championship would be on the line, with Powerhouse Hobbs defending his title against former two-time champion Wardlow in a battle of the big men. Wardlow would find himself with a new ally heading into the match, with Arn Anderson returning to Dynamite as Mr. Mayhem's new mentor. In the end, it would pay off, as Wardlow would leave Pittsburgh with the belt, becoming the third man to become a three-time TNT champion, joining the list of Cody Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. His next challenger was seemingly immediately revealed, as after the bell, Christian Cage would lead out a returning Luchasaurus to the entrance ramp to make their presence known. This is the first time the fighting dinosaur has been seen in an AEW arena since December. Another match that would take place on Dynamite would pit one of the company's newest additions, Switchblade Jay White, against Commander. This would be White's first ever match on the company's Wednesday night show, with it also being his first AEW match since signing earlier this month. In the end, a devastating Blade Runner would put the luchador away, with White extending his AEW career record to 3 wins and 0 losses, with the other 2 happening via the Forbidden Door. It would later be confirmed on social media by AEW president Tony Khan that Commander has now signed with All Elite Wrestling, this following reported interest from WWE in recent months, with it being made official when a Commander is All Elite graphic was posted. As the Double or Nothing pay-per-view approaches, 3 of the so-called 4 pillars of AEW have been locked in a war of words over recent weeks in order to stake their own claim as the #1 contender for MJF's AEW World Championship. The feud would continue last night, where a tournament was announced involving Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Jack Perry in order to find out who is next in line for a title shot. Darby would receive a bye through to the final, with it being Sammy and Jack that entered the first round in the main event of the show. In the end, it was Guevara that advanced after MJF's interference led to Jungle Boy being counted out by the referee, with it clear who the champion wants to face at the pay-per-view on May 28th. This means that it will be Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin competing next week for a spot in the title match at Double or Nothing, with the odds firmly stacked against the face-painted Daredevil. Stone Cold Steve Austin would make his wrestling return last year at WrestleMania, where his guest appearance on the Kevin Owens show turned into a street fight in the main event of Night 1. This was the Rattlesnake's first match since WrestleMania 19, bringing his 19-year-long retirement to a temporary end. With that said, many reports have emerged over the last 12 months that have revealed talks between WWE and Austin for another match at this year's Mania, something that he would discuss this week with Sports Illustrated. First off, Steve would explain why he accepted last year's offer and said, "I haven't spoken to this, but I'll give you the story. I met with some people from WWE. We talked about the possibility of me wrestling at WrestleMania 39. The biggest thing in my mind was the presentation and what kind of match it was going to be. Going back to 38, the way the Kevin Owens thing was presented, I love KO. I turned that down 3, 4, 5 times until the creative finally came to be what it ended up being." He would then reveal what was different this time around, with a pre-scheduled appearance in another TV show playing a factor, and he would say, "I didn't want it constructed as a real match per se. I needed something that could turn into one, and it did, but I think that's why we got away with it." The Dallas crowd was very receptive. I hadn't been around, so the timing was right, but to do a proper match, I'd have to be in off-the-charts shape. I told them, and this is the exact truth, I said, "Guys, I'm just fixing to go into production on this show, Stone Cold Takes on America, and until we start production, I don't know what my life looks like. I can't commit." Sure enough, there were technical issues before before we finished. I was supposed to finish a month before we did. There's no way with the schedule I was doing, driving an RV all over God's creation, doing all I was doing, that I would be ready. I had two 30-pound dumbbells, a 45-pound sandbag, a 25-pound kettlebell, working 15 hours a day, then getting in a 30 or 40-minute workout. That doesn't get you ready for WrestleMania. And I was really protected at WrestleMania 38. This time, that wasn't going to be the case. That was a true statement. Until this show was over, I couldn't commit. In last night's news video, we would discuss a report from Fightful Select after a deal had been reached between WWE and Twitch, which will allow talent to stream on the platform once again. This after multiple streams were shut down by the company in the fall of 2020, with the use of third-party platforms being banned from there on out. To add to this report, we have a couple of notes on WWE's share of the revenue generated by the wrestlers on Twitch, with the first coming from Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer. He would take to Twitter to confirm that WWE take a portion of Twitch's cut and not the talent's portion, meaning the wrestlers won't earn less than the average streamer, and he would reveal, "It is confirmed through talent that WWE's Twitch cut is from the Twitch side, not the talent side." Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast would later reveal what he knows about the agreement on Twitter, with him noting that WWE talent will actually earn more than most on the platform, and said, "According to sources, WWE execs negotiated for talent to get a larger cut than other creators on the platform. This was described to me as a very talent-friendly deal." All Elite Wrestling Television currently airs on networks owned by Warner Bros. Discovery, those both being TBS and TNT. This week, author, reporter, and podcast host James Andrew Miller was interviewed on the SI Media with Jimmy Traynor, who previously worked for the Washington Post and was executive vice president of original programming for the USA Network, where a very interesting conversation took place. Miller would reveal that he's heard that Warner may be interested in acquiring WWE programming at some point, and noted, "I think so. I wouldn't be surprised, despite the fact that money is such an issue for them. I wouldn't be surprised if Warner Bros. Discovery wouldn't like a slice of that WWE pie. I don't know, but I know there are people at Warner Bros. Who are interested in WWE." Whilst it's unclear if Warner will drop AEW TV in exchange for WWE, it's worth noting that the foundations for a potential partnership are there. This following Warner's recent purchase of BT Sport in the UK, a network that airs WWE television across the pond, with the network soon to be renamed TNT Sport in the coming months. With both wrestling companies in the midst of a pivotal broadcast renegotiation year, there could be one or two twists and turns along the way. Top free agent Bill Goldberg would speak with 93.7 The Ticket earlier this week, where he discussed his future in wrestling amid speculation on what or who could be next. Not only would he reveal scrapped plans of a retirement match in WWE, but he would also note that he's leaning towards promoting his own worldwide retirement tour in order to give his character a proper send-off. According to a fresh report from PW Insider, it's now been revealed that Goldberg met with at least one international promoter in Los Angeles over WrestleMania weekend, with them confirming that this was linked to a possible celebration and retirement in Israel and potentially other countries. The report lines up with a previous story from Fightful Select that the former WCW champion had received an offer for one last match, for a match in Israel. The PW Insider report would then discuss rumors of a match with MJF in All Elite Wrestling, with them confirming that they haven't heard of any talks regarding this from sources within the company. However, were Goldberg to become All Elite at some point, this does feel like a natural fit for Max, with the man being one of his favourite wrestlers as a kid, a theme of his storylines as of late, with him confirming this during his now infamous appearance on The Rosie O'Donnell Show. Following the recent return of Vince McMahon to WWE, there has reportedly been an uneasy atmosphere backstage amongst the talent roster in the locker room. Not only is this linked to the concerns that the chairman has an ever-increasing role in charge of the creative process following huge improvements led by Triple H, but it is also linked to worries that there could be more talent releases from the company, only exaggerated by the recent takeover of Endeavor. Well, we now have an update on the backstage mood in WWE, as according to PW Insider, there has been bubbling paranoia within the locker room, especially among those that were previously released under the McMahon regime before re-signing when Triple H took the reins. The report specifically mentioned concerns that some talent could be relegated to the undercard or even released if cuts are to take place. Sources within WWE's creative team did confirm that no such edict has been issued from the top of the company as of the report's publication, although this hasn't stopped wrestlers from being concerned, with many feeling they are now walking on eggshells. And before you go, make sure you check out the 12 most obscure WWE appearances from AEW wrestlers.